For coming. My name is Pete Dine. I'm the general manager of the Wakefield Gas and Light Department. And tonight our presentation is on the community solar project that we're working on. You probably noticed if you drive by our building at 480 North Ave, a lot of construction going on the roof. We're installing the solar panels on the roof of 480 North Ave to be part of the community solar program. So tonight I'm joined by Joe Collins. He's our business analyst, and he's been a key figure in putting the community solar portion of the project together. And so I really want to thank you for coming. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of interest because we're standing room only, and we had a sign up for 60 spaces, and it looks like we have close to 85, 90 people, so that's very good. So we're really excited about this project, and we weren't sure what level of interest we would get in it. So judging by the number of people that have showed up, it's very strong. So we appreciate that. What we're going to talk about tonight a little bit about the project itself, where it is, what's going on, the design aspects of it, as well as the program that we're going to be offering as a community solar program to the residents. This is really aimed for folks that can't put solar on their roofs right now. If you do already have solar, we're not targeting that population right now. So we'll see how the signups go before we go beyond that. But as of right now, we're really targeting the population that doesn't have solar on their roofs already. So that's one of the key things about the program itself. So without further ado, I'll turn the program over to Joe. What we're going to try to do is go through the entire slide deck and save questions for the end. It's a lot easier. By the way, for those that can't hear something or don't get all the information, this session is being taped by WCA TV, and it will be replayed both for them and also a link on our website so that you'll be able to watch the whole presentation. Again, if you want, if there are any other questions. We will try to answer as many as possible, but in order to do the answering of questions, they suggest that we hold all the questions to the end because it'll be easier for us to deal with them as we go. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Joe.
Thank you, Pete. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to see how many people showed up today. It's good to see how many people are interested in our community solar program. So as Pete said, my name is Joe Collins. I'm the business analyst of energy services at the Gas and Light Department, and I'm excited to present this project to you today. So just to start off, just as to not have confusion, we also offer a residential rooftop solar to put solar on your own roof. So that's not going to be discussed today except for this one single slide here. So you can get 80 cents per watt up to a 10 kW system, maximum 8,000 incentive. 85% of the energy charge is given back to you as a credit for any electricity you don't use for solar. So you can't, as Pete mentioned, you can't have solar on your roof and be part of this program at this time. And then if you want to learn more information, you can go to our website. There's more information on this solar program. So to start off, we have just a short video to play. It's about 1 minute and 30.
The solar arrays are going on the roof of our headquarters at 480 North Ave. We're in the process of installing the panels on the roof. We have 2 separate solar arrays. One of them is for our building, and one is for the community solar.
Both the solar arrays on the roof will have great benefits for ratepayers and for the customers participating in community solar.
This is a great project for the town. It's going to cover the electricity usage for our entire building, and in the long run, it's going to save ratepayers some money.
It allows people who couldn't necessarily put solar on their own roof to actually invest in green energy.
The project is expected to go live in Q1 of 2024, and Wakefield homeowners will start to see the benefit in the second quarter of 2024.
This community solar program should pay itself off in 5 to 7 years for customers who are participating, and we're planning to have a 25% carve-out for low-income signups. This will enable low-income customers to have a first-time access to renewable energies. We're very excited to roll out this program. There's various benefits like carbon emission savings and access to renewable energy. We're really happy to have customers involved in this program. It's a very huge benefit for the town.
It really is a win-win for us and the ratepayers in the town.
So it's just a little appetizer before the presentation kind of kicks off. So what is community solar? So for those of you who don't know or may know, community solar is designed where one entity owns solar, which in this case owns and operates solar, which in this case is the gas and light department, and then allows people to buy in and get some of the benefits. They pay a fee, and there's different structures that people choose to do this, and then the customers will get some of that production as a bill credit. So this helps Wakefield's commitment to green energy, and it's another step towards the state's next net zero 2050 goal. And it's a huge opportunity for benefits for both the gas and light and for our customers. So why are we offering community solar? So it's an innovative and exciting way for people to participate in solar and renewable energy. It shows Wakefield and the gas and light's commitment to renewable energy. And also this project is a great pilot for potential future projects that we could have. And it's an ideal place to start because it's a roof. We own the roof, and so there's not costs there that are associated with trying to rent space for a roof or lease it in that way. So as I said before, there's benefits for customers, for us, and the environment. So it seems like a huge win for everybody. So this is kind of a rendering of what it's going to look like on the roof. So it's 125 kW DC solar array on the facility roof at 480 North Ave. So the goal of this program is to have a carve out 25% for low income customers as well, to try to give them a first time access to renewable energy. So there's plenty of benefits to community solar, both for us and for the customers. So the program will allow accessibility, as was discussed, to green energy without a large capital investment. Participants should see savings on their bill annually and will have an opportunity to participate in Wakefield's decarbonization goals. So the low-income carve-out will allow many customers first-time access, as is discussed, and it will also enhance the town and our non-carbon portfolio in line with the state's goals. So additionally, it's a capacity resource and has limited peak shaving benefits for the majority of ratepayers. So low income should have an immediate benefit because there's no upfront fee, and we'll discuss that later on, the different structures between low income and non-low income. And the non-low income should have a payback of less than 5 years. And it's important to note that the payback period is calculated using current projected electric rates and the projected production of the solar. So it can vary from the projections. So the community solar structure, it's designed to make available to customers in 1 kilowatt DC segments to allow customers to request up to 5 kW DC. Now, it seems like a lot of people are pretty interested in this program, so people may request up to 5 kW DC, but they're probably only going to get one if, even half of the people here and then other people are interested in signing up for this program. So it really depends on the interest and how many people we have signing up is how many kilowatts that you'd be eligible to receive. And as said before, it's reserved. There's a certain portion reserved, 25% for low-income customers. The fee structure is slightly adjusted for them, as well as waiving the sign-up fee. To qualify for low income, it's based on standards set by existing federal and state assistance programs such as LIHEAP or food stamps and things of that nature. So we would have you provide proof that you qualify into the low income. And then that would be something that we look at each year to make sure you're still in that category. So the fee structure is intended to balance both the gas and lights costs and benefits for customers while allowing access to renewable energy. So the amounts are derived utilizing output projections as well as projected electricity costs for in a 20-year period. And additionally, there's no upfront fee for low-income customers. So this is kind of a visual and an easy way to kind of break it down. There's 3 kind of important line items here. There's the upfront membership fee. For non-low income, it's $75 upfront, and that's a one-time payment, and that's per kilowatt. So again, I think it seems like with how much interest there is, people are going to get one, so it probably will be 75. But if you were to have two, it would be 150, three, and so forth. It scales up with how many kilowatts you're a member of. The next thing is the monthly fee. So there's a fee charged per kilowatt per month to be on this. For non-low income, it's 11 per kilowatt per month. And for low income, it's 10.50. So the easy part is the monthly bill credit is calculated the same way, and it's calculated the same way as if you were to have rooftop solar on your own roof, which is 85% of the current energy charge multiplied by whatever percentage of production that you have based on how many kilowatts you're signed in for. So a very big piece to go through here is performance and seasonality. Now, if people are pretty familiar with solar or just kind of understand that the sun, obviously the sun is what gets production for the solar. And so in the wintertime, it's not going to have as good of an outlook as in the summertime. So what happens is, as you see in this graph below here, the bars in green, the months in green there are months that your credit on your bill is going to outweigh the fee that you're paying. And especially in June, July, August, that should outweigh it by up to $10 or so. In the winter months, in the red, that's when the fee is going to outweigh the credit most likely. And it depends on energy prices at the time, but it's going to outweigh it. So it'll be a net negative, not a huge amount, because if you think about it, the most it could be if the solar wasn't producing at all, it would be a net negative 11, which would be your monthly fee, assuming you have 1 kilowatt. So it's probably going to be like half of that. You might be paying $5 or so in those months. But if you look at it annually, you're going to be making money. So this is by the numbers. So if we look at it, the goal is to balance out funding of the project with customer benefits. And so the projected net financial benefit over the life of the project, looking at it 20 years, if you had 1 kilowatt, would be for non-low income, it would be $120. And for low income, it would be $320. So the amounts are not huge, but if you think about the capital investment that you're putting in up front of the $75 if you're non-low income, it's a pretty significant payback. As well as a lot of times the way community solar is done in other places is that you either break even or you actually end up losing money. You pay more just to be part of it because the renewable energy portion of this is obviously a very important deal. So the projected payback for non-low income with that $75 fee in mind and then the monthly fees is less than 5 years. But then for the low income, there really is no payback because there's no upfront fee. So you start right at ground zero. So and then again, the disclaimer that the numbers shown above are subject to change based on electricity rates and the production of the solar. So, and also the weather too. There's some unpredictable factors that kind of factor into some of those paybacks. So the community solar membership process. So membership sign up will be on the WMGLD website. It's actually been put up a page today. And so you'll be able to go on after this meeting and actually fill out the form and request a certain amount of kilowatts rather. So the customer info and verification, the customers, you have to make sure that you verify that you don't have rooftop solar on your own roof. That's an important piece of this. So by submitting the form, you just say it certifies that you don't have rooftop solar. I mean, we have visibility into your accounts too, so we could see that, but it's just good to have that in there as well. So as has been mentioned, you can request up to 5 kilowatts for the solar membership, and you will receive 0 to 5, depending on, it's on a first come, first served basis. So if there's 150 people, the first 125 will get into this program. But what's good to note too is if this is a real winner and everybody's excited and a lot of people sign up for it, we're going to create a wait list for everyone who didn't get to sign up for any future projects, or if people leave the program over the course of the of the time. So the timeline for this is signups will begin after this meeting. And these are the initial signups, and it will close on March 1st. And this is just to get an idea, because if you had 60 people who signed up and they had different amounts of kilowatts that they wanted, there's got to be a cutoff point at some point to say, okay, now we have to figure out, okay, who gets how many kilowatts. Now, it could be that there's 150 people that sign up before March 1st, and then everybody gets one, and it's the first come, first serve that people kind of fill out that form. So, and then the next big date after that is, the goal is to kick it off by April 1st, 2024. So that's when you'll get the contracts in advance of that, and you'll sign, yep, I got 1 kilowatt, and I agree to the terms that and conditions, and then you'll be enrolled in that program April 1st, and you should see your first bill in May, because it'll take the production from April, takes it as a whole in that month, and then applies it to your May bill. So the credits and fees are applied monthly to your utility bill. So each month members will receive a credit on their bill, and they'll also see the fees. The one-time fee also applies to the bill too, and that will be when you sign up. It'll be the $75 right there. So we created a separate email specifically for community solar. It's communitysolar@wmgld.com. And so if there's any questions or concerns, things like that, you can reach out to that email. It's also the email that the forms will get sent to as well. So this is kind of a full picture of the timeline here. So obviously we're at the top here, Thursday, January 25th, doing the customer info session, and it's also the first day of sign up. So it's available on the website for anyone who's signing up, after this or tomorrow. One other thing we're going to try to do is anybody who registered today, if we have your email, we'll reach out and send you the link to the form so that you can fill it out. There's a sign-up sheet that I don't know if it's going around currently, but you may want to just sign your name on it before you leave if you didn't register. If you registered for today's presentation, we should have your email, and you should already be on the list, so you don't have to sign the sheet. So that's the first date. And then the second piece is, if necessary, a second community solar info session. And given the turnout here, I think that is very possible. That should happen. And so the next date, as discussed, March 1st, Friday, is the last day for initial sign up. So we'll see how many people have filled out the form. And then on the following Monday, we'll send out contracts to everybody based on how many they wanted to sign up for, also taking into account how many people filled out the form. So everyone probably gets one if there's over 125, and then if there's less, then you may get more than one. And each kilowatt will work where you get bumped to the end of the line. So if you request 4, someone's not going to have 4 and someone else has 2 if they also wanted more. It'll kind of go through the list. Once you get 1, it'll kick you back to the bottom, and then you'll be the first one to get a second one. But it'll go that way. It's not like you get your 4 because you requested first. It'll go in that fashion. So then the next date to note is these contracts will have a 2-week time frame, because with how interested everybody is in the program, there may be more people who might have, if you had sent it to them that day, they might have signed it in that 2-week period or that first day. So we're going to put a 2-week period on it just so we can offer other people a chance to do it, because our goal is to have everybody signed up by April 1st if possible. Now, if for some reason we don't have enough people at that time, we'll open it back up to more people who want to do it. We'll market a little bit more and see if there's other people that are interested in the program. So a couple additional notes. Signups are done on a first come, first serve basis, as mentioned. So do it, as quickly. If this seems like something you're interested in, it should be something you get on quickly, so you can make sure that you get access to the program. But even if not, you'll be put on a wait list for any future programs, and or if somebody doesn't sign their contract to be part of the program. So don't fret. Eventually, you should get a spot somewhere. And so the wait list, like I said, will apply to future projects. So here's a few frequently asked questions, and then we'll open it up to questions shortly after this. So how often will I receive a credit on my bill? That'll be a monthly as well as the fee. So you'll see them both on your bill. There'll be different line items. The next thing is, if I'm a renter, can I take advantage of this program? So yes, as a renter, you can. There's a couple things to consider as a renter. If you're a non-low income renter, if you know you're planning on staying around Wakefield for 4 years, 5 years, then I would say definitely look at this program, sign up. If you think about you're a renter and then you end up getting a house, if you stay within Wakefield, you can keep your membership in the program. So the next thing are kilowatts that I'm subscribed to transferable to someone else. So no, they're not transferable. So you can't, if somebody you know is interested in it, you can't prioritize them over the wait list. However, like I mentioned, if you move from a Wakefield address like a renter and then you move to another Wakefield address, you can keep, that's not transferring it to somebody else, that's keeping it within, you're still the person that's subscribed to that portion. So the next question is, am I guaranteed to net positive every month? So no, you're not guaranteed to net positive every month. As discussed before, in the summer months, you're going to be making money. In the winter months, you're going to be losing a little bit of money. And then in those shoulder months, like fall and the spring, it just depends on different factors. What's the weather like? What's the current energy charge? Because the higher your electric bills are, the higher the energy charge is, the higher your bill credit's going to be. So it does mitigate if prices increase a little bit. This program does mitigate some of that price, albeit at a small level. And then if prices go down, your credit's going to be smaller. So in those shoulder months, you might break even, you might lose a little bit of money, depending on how far the energy charge goes down. But the good thing is, at that point, if your energy charge goes down, your overall bill should be lower anyway. So that's something to be happy about, I think. Can I remove myself from the program in the winter months and hop back on in the spring? Now, no. In a perfect world, you could, but no. We ask that you sign up for at least a year, and then what would happen too is once you leave, you don't have eligibility before everybody else who was going to sign up. So you'll be put on like a different wait list, like an extra wait list. So just don't do it. If I leave the program, do I get my initial membership fee back? No, the $75, that's a one-time fee, and that's not something that you would get back. What happens if you want to join, but all the spots are filled up? I think we kind of beat this one pretty good, but what happens is you get put on a wait list, and if there's future programs or if someone jumps off, you'd be the next person to jump on. If you're still interested, we would reach out to you, make sure you're still interested and in the same situation, and then you could sign up from there. So when can I sign up for Community Solar? So after this meeting, you'll be able to sign up for the Community Solar. It's up on the website. You go to the Energy Efficiency Programs tab, and on the left-hand side, there's a link to the Kenneth Chase Community Solar program, and you go there. You can read about it in some detail. Eventually, this presentation will be linked there as well. And you'll also have the form that's linked there. So you'll click here, it's in bold. You click there, you fill out the form, you say how many kilowatts you want, and then the rest is history. We'll work our magic and you might get a contract at the beginning of March. So that's all that I had prepared as far as the presentation goes right now, but I think at this point we'll open it up to questions.
Oh, it's not over here.
I'd have to go digging up my electric bills. I have no idea how much kilowatt hours I would use on average. You know what, like an average?
The average customer uses about 750 kilowatt hours a month.
Oh, okay, so this is a real small.
It's a small
drop in
piece.
the bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So what would be the increase in cost to our current electric?
Well, so the maximum would be the $11 if you were
Plus the 80, plus the $75 sign.
the $75 one-time sign-up fee, and then the $11 a month for the charge to participate.
What
But
are we paying now for?
right now, our it's about 16 cents a kilowatt hour just for the energy itself, which is what this talks
So
about.
it's gonna be $11 for this?
No, that you're talking about cents per kilowatt hour versus a flat monthly fee. It's not, the $11 is not related to the kilowatt hours. It's a flat monthly fee.
It's $11 per kilowatt.
Yeah, basically per share in the program. So if you have one kilowatt is one share. Right.
Currently, I pay $16.16 for it.
Per kilowatt hour. 1 kilowatt is the,
Yeah, okay, give me oranges and oranges,
Alright, so
apples and oranges,
what-
what's the kilowatt hour equal?
kilowatt hour, what do they stand for kilowatt hours for one share?
For one share. So to give you kind of a picture of it,
How many hours is a kilowatt hour? A kilowatt?
how many hours is a kilowatt? So what I would say is over the course of a year, 1 kilowatt of the solar array will produce about 1,100 kilowatt hours.
So it's about 100 kilowatt hours a month. A little under 100 kilowatt hours a month.
When you said no solar, currently having solar, we have solar water heater. So it doesn't supply our electric at all.
And you're not part of any of our programs?
No.
You know, so then you would still qualify.
Okay.
As long as you're not part of any of our existing programs.
Right.
then We have net metering and we have
We've
solar.
had the house for 40 years and we've had solar hot
Yeah.
water for
It wouldn't apply
40
to
years.
that.
Okay.
Does being part of this new solar array, being part of your own rooftop solar program down the road, other than you have to drop out?
You would have to drop out. It doesn't prohibit you from doing it later on if you want to.
So just to repeat that question, because I think that's a really good one that a lot of people might have. If you sign up for the program, but then eventually down the line you want to get solar on your own roof, you would have to remove yourself from the program, and then you could put solar on the roof.
And there's no penalty for dropping out.
No penalty.
Right here, we'll go back around again.
So the program is for the person, not property, so it's not a property.
Yeah, it doesn't carry on to the next owner.
So the question there was, is the program with the property or the person? And so the way it's designed is it's with the person. So if you were to move out, it wouldn't stay on your bill. I think just because you might want to make sure that people moving in, they might not know what that is and they're not the one who signed up for it.
And also, one of the things Joe covered in the frequently asked questions, if you move within Wakefield, you could still take that with you to your next location if you stayed in Wakefield and you wanted to keep it.
It's like a 1-year program you're talking about? So-
No, once you sign up, you're in it until you choose to leave.
Okay.
Yeah. So the question,
Minimum of the year.
yep. So the question was, is it a 1-year program? And so the answer to that is it's across the life of the program. I mean, I don't see that everyone will be on it for 20 years, but it'll pay back in about 4 years or so, give or take. So that kind of mirrors, if you were to put your own solar on the roof, it may take, depending, 5 to 7 years to pay off a rooftop solar.
Yeah, most of the average paybacks on one, if you were to install it yourself, is in the 7-year time frame. So with this program, if you participate, you're going to get a payback less than if you were putting it on your own roof.
But the $75 is a one-time.
One-time fee. Yeah.
So if you don't pay another $75 in it for 25.
No.
The only time you would pay an additional fee is if you end up signing up for an additional kilowatt.
Will the $11, does that ever have a chance of going up in year 2, year 4, year 5?
No, we're committing to it for the people that sign up now. The economic, if we do a second program, the question was, is the $11 guaranteed for this? It is for this particular project. The economics of each project may vary based on what does it cost to put it up at the time, what does it cost to rent roof space if we need to rent roof space. So the economics of each iteration might be different, but right now we're standing behind this one. as Joe said at the beginning, one of the benefits we have is that we own this roof and we're going to be there for a long time. So, it's a lot easier for us to control those fixed costs. So this program will have these economics.
It looked like you had a slide that projected how much you would save over 20 years.
Sure.
Can you explain that? Because it doesn't look like a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, it is relative. It's not the dollar amounts over 20 years. It's not breaking the bank. I think one of the biggest benefits of the program is that it allows people to have renewable energy access to that. And the other thing is, for the money that you put up front, your capital investment of $75, it actually most likely outpaces if you would have put a capital investment
But just
on
to
your own.
clarify, are you suggesting that in 20 years of this program, a non-low income family would save around $120
Yes,
in 20 years?
yes.
So you have to realize, so if you were to put solar on your roof yourself, you'd have to outlay somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000, and you'd have 7 years before you got any payback on that. So that's the counterpoint to that argument. And again, you're signing up for a much smaller chunk of the whole system.
So if you think about it too, that's for 1 kilowatt. So it seems like there's a lot more interest. So people probably aren't going to get 5, but then you multiply that by 5. And so that's still not over 20 years. That's not, again, it's not breaking the bank, but that's not, to me, that's not the only reason. It is a reason for it to be financially viable. But I think a lot of times if you look at how other community solar structures go, it's either a break-even proposition or you're actually losing out. And it's really the renewable energy portion of it that people are focused on and are excited about. So that's just up to each individual customer to decide if it's worth it for them and the reasons that they're doing it.
Yeah. So you're using 20 years as the life of the project as an example. Is that the expected?
That's the expected life of the project. And it does factor in,
Panels themselves?
yes, expected life of the panel. Yeah. And the other issue with that is the economics did factor in the anticipated degradation. I don't know if people know much about solar, but they do expect a little bit degradation over the years. And those factors were also factored into the economics.
I'm currently signed up to the green energy program or whatever.
Yeah,
Green choice.
Yeah. And how does that factor into this? Does that prevent you from, signing up for this? Or?
No, it doesn't prevent you. What would happen is your, so again, the question was, if you're part of Green Choice already, could you still sign up for this program, and what impact would that have? So the reality, what would happen is that the portion of your energy that we would need to buy would go down because some of it's being covered by this already. So the way Green Choice works is that we buy, our portfolio currently is 52% non-carbon emitting. What we do for the Green Choice customers is we buy renewable energy credits for the remainder of what you buy. So if it was 1,000, and 520 would be already covered by the fact that our portfolio is already 52% non-carbon emitting. So we're buying 480 for you, but that would go down based on what this is, how many kilowatt hours are being generated by this. Excuse me.
What's the initial $75 for?
For setting up the program in terms of each person is going to have to be put into our billing system, customize the setup for the bill. So, and it's also defraying the capital cost of putting this up there is also significant. There's also annual maintenance fees and all that. So that's what's covered in that one-time administrative fee.
Is this also funded by the federal government?
We're not getting any federal funding at this point for this project. There's a lot of grants that we're continuing to pursue, and they may have an impact on future programs, but and that might help defray the cost of some of those other issues that we described, such as getting roof space and things like that. But right now, we're self-funding this program.
The only reason I asked, my daughter has gone solar, and the federal government picked up 95% of her installation. That's why I'm at, and where this is such a big project,
Yeah, but does she live in a municipal town she lives in I'm sure she lives in an investor-owned utility town.
She lives in Billerica.
Yeah, so that's an IOU. So the economics and all that are different there. First of all, I guarantee she's paying 50% more every month for electricity than we are. And second of all, so she's paying a portion of her bill every month to help fund that, because the IOU customers pay about 2 3/4 cents in energy conservation charges for every. So the economics are two different animals.
She has said her bill is almost half now than what it was,
Yep.
which I find amazing.
Pete, on that point, are there any state or local tax incentives available for this program?
Not for this. Because it's a program like this, the tax benefit came in the way we structured the construction of the deal. So we have a third party that when we're building this, keep the cost as low as possible for the construction of it. We struck a deal with Amoresco, who's installing the project, and that's where the tax benefit came from, to keep our capital cost as low as possible.
What is the total project cost for this project?
The total project cost. So the way we're doing it is we're actually leasing it for the 20 years. So there's an annual lease cost. The installation cost for a project of this size, typically, if we had done it in a different way, as addressing the tax issue, so it would be in the area somewhere around 1.3 million. But because we structured the deal the way we did with a third party and with, allowing them to get the tax benefit and us to do a lease payment for the 20 years, that's where that all came in.
Not to, for me, just to clarify the financial benefit, that's basically over and above the $11 a month you're putting in. So that's sort of a net positive.
Yes.
Because you're putting in $26.40 over the 20 years at $11 a month. So this is basically saying your benefit is going to be that plus 120 bucks.
Exactly.
So that's going to bring that up to net positive.
Right.
And I'm sure that would be, future projected rates. That's probably going to be more based on projected rates than.
When Joe did the question about the paybacks and the cost, we use our current forecast, but again, that's a snapshot in time in 2023, really. So, and there's going to be a lot of variables that impact that over time, but I would guess that your summation is accurate. So.
Revolutionary technology, real world results. That's
I got a question.
Yep, back there.
Right now, what's a kilowatt cost on a regular bill?
A kilowatt hour?
Yeah, kilowatt. No, kilowatt.
Kilowatt. So the cost of a kilowatt of capacity. Kilowatt is a measure of capacity. Kilowatt hour is a measure of volume. So you don't see the cost of a kilowatt on your bill because it's all factored into the total energy charge.
Well, what's well, that $11 that we're costing a month, it buys 1,100 kilowatt hours, is that what it's doing?
Approximately 1,100 kilowatt hours a year.
Now, what is a kilowatt hour right now, exclusive of this program? What's the cost to the citizens of Wakefield? What are we paying for?
As we said before, the cost per kilowatt hour is just for the kilowatt hour itself is approximately 16 cents right now.
You multiply that by 1,100 and you come up with a comparison of what?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you considering going the school district into this for buildings that they're not already doing a program with you?
That's potential location for some future sites, yes. Right now, like I said, the easiest, most accessible route is obviously the one we own, but there's approximately 16 or 17 public buildings that could be potential future sites as we go on. For those of you that are familiar with the energy park, obviously both the new technical high school and the new Wakefield High School are going to have solar as part of the energy park projects. But there's a bunch of other schools and other public buildings that over time, I don't know if you've already seen that over on Broadway at the two water department buildings. We work very closely with the DPW to help them get solar on both those buildings at the end of Broadway, right where the water department is. So we work closely with the town on those projects, and our goal is to keep, growing that part of the business as well. So there may be opportunities to create community solar as part of those, if again, we can make the right business deal and make it work.
Thank you.
To that end, is there a general size you need to build it? Like it has to be 100 kilowatts for it to make money or be worthwhile? Or can you, squeeze it in anywhere you can and have it smaller, 20?
Again, the question is there a minimum size? I think it depends on other factors such as, is there an additional cost to the roof or not? Again, the project that was done on the two water department buildings, they're relatively small. They did get a little bit of state money for those, and we contributed some money, so that worked out okay. So each project is gonna have to be looked at on a case-by-case basis. Are there state dollars available, federal dollars available? Are there deals that we can make with the various entities to make it worthwhile?
If this goes as well as it looks like it may, and you get all 125, and then you get another building that's available when you start that project, is that how these are going to be split up? By if you sign up for this one, you're a part of the building that's being done now, and then another group of people, others kind of all come together.
So what we'll probably do is see if there's a waiting list for us and approach those people for the next project, and then as they go, we continue to make offerings. If we saturate the first level of interest, we're going to come back to the existing participants and see if they would like to participate in another or a second project.
Like if everyone ends up with one, it's like, hey, do you want to buy another one?
Another share, yes.
Or two. Okay.
Did I hear you correctly that after, say, a year, you could reevaluate and you could drop out? So you would base it on like a year to year for the homeowner?
So the question is, after a year, can you evaluate and decide that you want to drop out? So I would say if in the non-low income portion, I wouldn't recommend it, but you could, because after that, the $75, you probably wouldn't have got your money back at that point unless something crazy happened. But so that's what I would say. But if for some reason you didn't like it after a year, if it wasn't what you were looking for, you can definitely drop out. There's no fees or any problem with doing that.
So what is the expected time that an individual, in case of, talking about her, would they be expected to sort of get, I hate to say get back $75, it's not really that much money, but, is it worth it for a year or two, or is it more for 5 years? I've heard.
I think one of the slides, we expect it for non-low income, the payback is less than 5 years.
And so it could be 4, it could be 3, depending. If energy prices spike, it's less. It could be less than 3, depending.
Also, if we have a very sunny, we've had probably one of the cloudiest January. We've barely seen the sun since Christmas, so we've had a very, very cloudy January. So if we were running this month, it's probably among the lowest Januaries we've had. But again, we live in New England; the weather changes tomorrow, so.
So it sounds like there's a potential to make more money than we see up there, depending on what happens, in 20 years, who knows?
Correct. And it's weather dependent, and it's cost of electricity dependent, as well as obviously, other factors that, we can't count. What we've tried to do with this project is say that we're committing to this project with this economics now, and there is a potential to benefit even more financially, as Joe said, with the various factors.
So, excuse me, the real appeal of this is environmental and convenience, it sounds like. Like the financial numbers are just there to all right, you're not gonna lose your shirt on this. And the convenience to me is huge. It sounds like a great thing rather than deal with 100 homes wrestling with panels on their roofs. The town does it. I fill out a form.
And you get some solar.
I'm throwing less carbon in the air and probably not costing me much, maybe saving $1 a month or something. On the clouds, one hang around.
That's completely accurate.
But, yeah, those are two really good reasons.
I've seen this.
Right. So if you are, just moved here for years and you're considering the solar on your roof, it's probably, if I did sign up for this and did get accepted, I'd probably want to wait that 4 or 5 years to make sure I, got some of the payback, or just if it's 2 years later and I'm ready to put solar panel and someone's offering something really well. So that's kind of it, right? It's
absolutely. So the question was, if I put this on, do I have to wait the 4 years? Again, the upfront capital cost is only the $75. If the economics of the project you're looking at 2 years down the road makes sense, and you can get back half of your $75.
like a tiny chance. It's
Yeah.
not a big
Yeah.
deal, but like just what he said,
Yeah.
maybe you feel good for 2 years.
If you look at a project, if you look at a
Well,
project,
if I'm gonna
on
put
your-
solar on, then I'll feel even better.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have,
In the
I
back
have,
first.
I have another question. It's with all the new apartment buildings that are going up in town, is the town making them or offering them a rate so that if they put solar panels on their roofs to power their own building? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, so to answer, the question is, with all the new multifamilies going in, what is the town doing to support solar? So I'll give you, there's 2 parts to that answer. The first part is that the town just adopted the specialized energy code, which requires that all buildings have to be solar ready, especially multifamilies, and if they choose to go with some form of fossil fuel, they're gonna have to install solar as part of that. So that's all part of energy code related issues. And we, as Wakefield Gas and Light, still have our solar incentive program where we contribute 80 cents a watt for an installed system. So that's if they install a system that's 25 kW or less. If they install a system greater than 25 kW, we work with them on a special contract to
Change the rate.
change the rate.
Thank you.
What do you mean solar ready?
So you have to look at the specialized energy code, but the code right now requires that buildings be ready for, in other words, they have to have roof penetrations that could bring the conduit down. There's various factors, and I'll screw it up if I try to list all of them. But it's got to be ready and capable of installing solar in the future. But with the new specialized energy code, if you choose to heat your building with fossil fuel, then you're required to have the solar. That's right.
You said earlier that we were 52% on carbon emitting. Is this 125 plus the 100 that you guys are putting for yourselves change that 52 by much, or is it not really a big impact?
Not a huge impact, but it might move it a fraction of a fraction.
So if you want to be more green, you do the green by the Rex or whatever.
You could do both. I mean, this is still a step forward along the way. It's a small project to start. Some of these community solar projects can be up to a megawatt or more. And we are part of a large project out in Ludlow that we buy power from. So there's a bunch of different ways that you do that. But I will tell you that every step that we take like this is a positive step. First of all, the portion of the roof that's going to be used for our resource is going to help us green. Obviously we're going to get the RECs that we can retire for that portion of it, help make our Wakefield Gas and Light carbon footprint lower. And then the other part of this building is it's going to exceed what we really need. So that's why we decided to make this part a community solar program.
So, can you help me understand, just the scope of the installation you guys are doing? Like, how many houses worth of solar panels would this be equivalent?
So I guess, the question was, how big is this solar project in comparison to what somebody might put on a house? So to kind of put it in perspective, our rooftop solar program, the maximum that we allow is 10 kilowatts, and that's a pretty good sized system for a house. So this is 125. So that's kind of That's kind of the difference between the two.
And for the average house that we've seen over the past 4 years, it's probably in the range of 6 to 8. So 6 to 8, so we're talking about the equivalent of about 20, anywhere from 10 to 20 houses.
It's gonna be a tough one to answer. I'm just curious now, you're saying that the cost of electricity has been going up. I'm not sure what's really, I have an idea what's driving the cost, not as far as price of cost of fuel and so forth. But were you trying to get to a net zero in terms of town? How does that affect your projections on rates increasing or staying level or even decreasing?
So again, what we said, we have a 20-year forecast for electricity costs that we use. That we're partners with MWEC, the Municipal Electric Wholesale Corporation, that does helps us with our power purchasing and our forecasting. And so we factor that in, and there is an anticipated climb in energy costs over the next 20 plus years. As you said, the drivers of the cost of energy are going to be, retirement of fossil fuels, retirement of units. And so there's a lot of factors, obviously demand. So there are a lot of factors that will contribute to the cost of electricity over the next. The fortunate thing we have is that as a municipal, we can own resources. IOUs have to go out to bid and pay market cost once every 6 months. We are allowed to own resources, so we own a piece of Berkshire Wind, we own a piece of a peaking unit, we own a piece of a fossil plant. We own a lot of things that are resources that we can own that gives us both cost stability and the ability to forecast. So of the energy that we sell to you, almost half of it is from resources that we own as Wakefield Gas and Light.
How popular is this model across the state?
I guess I'm not sure what the IOUs do. I would say probably about a third of municipals, maybe a little less than a third of municipals are offering some form of community solar program.
What is the longevity of one of these panels? As far as
So the question was, what's the longevity of the panels? So it's expected about 20 years of useful life.
so you're basing it on a lifespan of 20 years.
Exactly. I mean, there'll be some degradation into the later years, but a 20-year useful life, yes.
I've been told that some of the rooftop units go 30, 35 years. Is there a reason why these are less than
Based on
that?
our forecast of 20 years, they don't just stop working after 20. So my guess is that the people that follow me after might have to do a recalculation in about 17, 18 years to decide if they're going to repower the program or if they're going to keep it going for a little while longer. So they'll look at the economics at that point.
Yeah. Is the number 1% degradation per year kind of a standard in the industry, or
I think it's a little bit less than that, actually.
less? Okay.
How susceptible are these units to hail?
So the question was, how susceptible are they to hail? And that's a question that I'm not really sure the answer to, as far as, I mean, probably isn't good for them. But
Yeah, I think that's a Colorado. A lot of damage up there. Automobile dealers, new roofs on a lot of flat roofs.
These are designed to withstand most of the natural weather conditions that we see. Again, there could be an extreme issue that we would have to go back and repair the system if we had some damage. But I think the light department in this project is taking on that responsibility that if there's significant damage, we're gonna take that issue.
Thanks.
Curiosity, your non-carbon energy that you supply versus your carbon-based that you supply, how do they compare cost-wise?
So it's all it's in one big pie basically, and at any given time, for example, in the winter, the fossil portion of our portfolio can be very expensive when we're buying peaking natural gas, and we have to run peaking units to serve the load. In the summer, gas is relatively inexpensive, so there's a lot of variables that go into answering that question. In general, we bring it all together at a cost. And if you look at a macro level, non-carbon emitting is probably a little bit more expensive now, but I would also say that if you look at our Green Choice program, the cost has come down 0.02 of a cent. So right now, if you want to join Green Choice, I think it originally was about 2.2 cents to join for a kilowatt hour of what you needed, and that's come down to 1.8. So the cost of non-carbon emitting is still a little bit more than the base cost, but it's also coming down.
So my initial cost is gonna be $75 and $11 a month on top of the Green Choice thing.
If you stay on Green Choice, yes.
Should I stay on Green Choice if I'm going this?
Yeah, well, this certainly won't cover all the costs, your entire portfolio. It will cover, it'll reduce the amount that you need on Green Choice, but it'll still, it won't cover all of it.
All right, so on an average house, I'm in Green Choice, plus the $11, what's the additional cost gonna be on my electric bill?
If you participate in
Right, the $11 plus, and I don't know what I'm paying for Green Choice. I think it's-
I'm not sure what, it all depends on what your usage is each month.
Depends if you have electric heat and an electric car.
Yes, yeah, I mean, yeah. Those are a couple of drivers that,
So is it feasible that you help the homeowner install their solar panels and run the program again with a few more panels?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
So if you compare your project 2 with potential for more, would it be comparable if you help the homeowner put up their panels and then add that to your generation and then distribute the cost again?
It's kind of two different, there's huge variables between, so we have, if you wanted to put solar on your roof, we have an incentive program for that. But factoring individual customers in right now would be much too complicated to have them contribute back. So what we do for that customer, if they have any excess, the idea is that you're supposed to design the solar for your typical usage, and what you sell back to us is nominal or minimal. But whatever you sell back, we buy from you, and it goes on to the system as a whole. It's hard to cut that out and figure out how much of that could be part of a community solar program.
This is something that you said, if I am all electric, I do not have a car, but my place, is it beneficial to do this program? Well, I mean, clearly I know how much I use and blah, 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 but just in general.
So the question was, if my house, if I'm all electric and I use a lot of energy, is it beneficial to do this program? So what I would say is that it really doesn't impact whether you use a ton of electricity or you don't, because the credit is based off of the production of the solar that's on our roof. Your credit's not going to change based on your bill, and the fee won't change either. It's because it kind of exists outside of that.
Not really a question, but a point, just to top off on what the gentleman in front of me said. This isn't a break the bank or anything. This is a get in on a ground floor with the municipality and, support solar panels like you saying. And I look at it a little bit, but over 10 years or 20 years ago, solar panels did this much and nobody believed in wind and all that. 10 years later, it's more. The next 10 years. The biggest example I can give everybody is look at the technology on your iPhone 15 compared to an iPhone 6. That's a 10-year gap. And that's technology. So we're getting in on the ground level on these 20-year, hopefully good on a very small building. But the next time they do this program, the technology for these solars are going to be completely different in a year. And then the next one and the next one and the next one, it's just going to keep getting better. So it's more about getting on the program to support solar, and hopefully you make $120 in 20 years,
Or essentially it doesn't cost me.
or you break even. Exactly.
And I'll tie that back to two other examples. The first is what I said, where our cost to be on Green Choice over the past 3 years has come down. So that means the cost of the green energy is coming down, and it's not a huge amount, but it's working in the right direction. And I'll give another example with technology. We were one of the founding members of Berkshire Wind. We built 10 1.5 megawatt wind turbines on Brody Mountain out in Western Mass. When we built Berkshire 2, those 1.5 turbines were actually 2.3. So the next generation of turbines were 2.3 megawatt units. And as we look at Berkshire 3, those are 2.6 megawatt turbines. So the technology and everything, it's all evolving over time.
And solar's not a new technology. It's been around for like 30 years, and some of the panels are nearing their end of their useful life now because they've been out there so long.
You said right now the town's portfolio and sustainable reduction is about 50-something%.
Yes.
So is there like a goal for X number of years, like reach?
Yeah, so the question is, our portfolio is about 52% non-carbon emitting now, and what's the goal for the future? So first of all, if you follow what the state is doing, we have to be net zero by 2050. And so we have to be 75% by 2040 and 50% by 2030. So we're already exceeding our 2030 goal. So our goal as a local municipality is to continue down that path so that we're marching forward to exceed the goal. But we've already surpassed the 2030 goal, and we're marching towards the 2040 goal at this point.
How are you reaching out to non-low income individuals?
The non-low income?
The low
I'm sorry, the low income, I'm sorry.
We're doing the same outreach we do.
Pete, can't help myself because there's a crowd. The thing came up about solar ready. Galvin's been solar ready since we built it. It's solar ready, I think. If you see a certain town councilor trying to get ARPA funds voted to put solar on top of buildings, kindly ask your other town councilors to join him in voting for that.
All right, so I think we have time for one more question. And then there's the community solar email as well, so if anybody has additional
Yeah,
questions.
if anybody missed the sign-up sheet's been going around a lot, I saw it, so it's in back right there. If anybody missed signing up, Joe will have an email list and we'll get information out to you as soon as possible. But as Joe said, you can go on the website right now and start to sign up. Joe's gonna come in early tomorrow to check how many people signed up.
I'm excited. All right, well, thank you everyone for showing up.